Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know it's been a couple of weeks because of the Thanksgiving holiday. We took a break last week. So just want to say I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday time with family and friends. And then, of course, with December here, we have Hanukkah, we have Christmas, New Year's, right? It's a great time of the year, but it's also a great time of the year to make sure that you're organized. You have all of your 2026 planning and goals in place, written down in front of you every day, right? And you're obviously an insurance agent, maybe a CFP, whatever it is. You have to make sure your finger is on the pulse 24/7 when it comes to products, right? To hot carriers, maybe new carriers in the space, maybe new technology. We're hearing so much now about AI, right? And how that can help our industry, not so much replace agents, but how it can help agents, right? With marketing, with getting creative with social media posts and ads and flyers. And, we always talk about education and educating consumers and prospects, and that's how you open doors and create leads. So, in my opinion, Chat GPT, it's the ultimate way to jump in, right, and do some research and fact checks. So, what I always suggest is yes, you have to be ahead of the curve, ahead of your competition out there, and rely on us, right, to share with you the latest and greatest, right, with technology, with sales strategies, products, everything I just mentioned. And at the end of the day, that's why we do these webinars, these trainings, the podcast, okay, even the 411 newsletter that's sitting in your inbox every other week, right? All of these things are built to help you move the needle when it comes to prospecting and helping more clients, selling more policies, right? It becomes a win-win-win. So I want to thank you for being with us today and for the entire year, right? We're coming close to the close here of 25. So I just want to say, number one, I wish all of you a happy and healthy as we move throughout December and into January. And I also want to say, make sure you have your notes. If it's a notes app, your old, yellow spiral folder, whatever it is, but you've got to make sure you have these hot takes, we call them, sales ideas, any pointers that you need to remember, right? Write these things down. Use that Q&A pane. If you have questions, comments, feedback, we want to hear from each and every one of you. Okay, it's very, very important now and in the future because we build all of these trainings based around agent feedback. So coming back full circle, we're here today, right? It's our first week, our first webinar back on December 4th. So we have 3 trainings left for the year, 1 podcast episode left for the year. And, we talk about a niche, a strategy. We talk about educating your consumers, your prospects. That's the name of the game. We've said it a few times already. So in order to do that, right, you have to know what's hot and what's not. So AuguStar is a company, right? And I'm not saying this because Alan, our VP, is joining us, but the reason why I'm bringing this up is talk about educating. And when it comes to permanent products, right, there's a lot of noise right now in the industry. Okay. You have some of the old school career type companies saying, oh, whole life is the best. And, you never have to worry about anything. You got these great guarantees. And yeah, some of that is true. Right. And I agree. And we do have some great competitive whole life products. In fact, the best of the best. The only issue is not the only issue, but a major issue, concern for a client, premium, right? Premium is typically 20 to 30% higher than a competitive IUL, let's say, or even a no lapse GUL. Okay, so what we like to talk about and offer is a competitive whole life, right? If a client wants permanent, they want to see both options, a competitive whole life, a competitive IUL, and even a competitive GUL. Okay, and we have all the bases covered at Levinson, as you know, with the most competitive carriers and products. Now, what we're going to talk about is something very, very unique. It's actually an indexed whole life product. the first, the only in our industry today. Okay, so you have something right in the middle that has the best of both worlds. So I don't want to steal any of Alan's thunder, but we're going to talk about that product today. We're going to talk about a niche. We're going to talk about marketing to business owners, a sales strategy, a business evaluation tool. We're going to talk about our new lead program, our agent benefits platform that's brand new. So some great ideas for you to close 25 strong and then have the best year ever moving in to 26. So I'm super excited about this. Let's go to the first slide here. And, what I was talking about is, and I know you have heard about this or read some articles recently, but the noise and the permanent product space. Okay. And I don't want to beat this to death, but there was an IUL policy that was sold. From what I hear, the agent didn't illustrate it correctly, or maybe said some things to the client that wasn't true. Anyway, there's a big lawsuit going on as we speak. Okay, and I don't know which side is the truth, or there's always something in the middle. Who knows? But the bottom line is, if you illustrate an IUL correctly, okay, and you don't make any false promises, and we can obviously help you with the illustration part. And then, of course, give you everything you need to speak to the client. But if you sell the product correctly, you will do a great thing, the right thing, okay, for yourself and for the client, most important. When you think about the facts with IUL, okay, look at these numbers on the left-hand side. We pulled these up just because of this webinar today, and a couple things that I want to point out, right? And you're probably going to hear about that IUL, right, that was brought up with the lawsuit, okay? And there's some articles, of course, you can dive into. But here's what's most important. When sold correctly and when being honest and you tell it like it is, right, and make sure you do your due diligence, rely on our marketing team, but look at the numbers. And this is 100% fact check here. First quarter of 25, IUL premium up 11%. Q1 of 25, Q2, 31%, Q3, okay, let's move to the bottom there. It's paragraph 4, 16%. Now, obviously, we didn't close out quarter 4 yet, but you can tell where the premium is coming in from, right? When you look at the pie, right, the call it the brokerage insurance policy pie, right? A big chunk of it is IUL. And clients, especially younger consumers, right, they're getting more educated with AI, with ChatGPT. So they want to know more. They want to see an illustration. Younger professionals, right, they're doing their homework and they know, wow, current cash value tied to the S&P, and I can still have a competitive premium and great death benefit that could be increasing. So know enough to be dangerous, right? Then on the right side, let's switch gears and talk about whole life, right? Another great product. And here's what's also interesting here. The 2025 whole life premium numbers so far, right, year to date, up 1% year over year. So 1% increase over 2024. That says a lot, okay? So obviously, people still are interested in whole life, right? Another great option. Guarantees are the name of the game, right? Win, win, win. Great. If they can afford it, wonderful. I get it. Okay. But it's your job to show both sides. Okay. And then obviously let the client make the decision. And now with this new niche, think about an indexed whole life product, best both worlds once again. So Alan's going to dive in just a couple more minutes here, but I love this concept, right? And at the end, we're going to show you some social media ads and flyers that are doing great. Okay. And think about when you create your flyer and you talk about a product similar to what we're going over today, you're going to get a lot of eyeballs, a lot of questions, right? And we know the questions leads to open doors to share your story. So you got to love this stuff. It's something new to talk about and bring to the market. All right, let's keep moving forward. What I want to speak about quickly is our agent, our customer, our number one. We do not sell on a retail level whatsoever. right? Think of Costco versus the neighborhood grocery store. Okay, we are 100% wholesalers. Think of buying leads. Think of CRM tools. Everything is done in bulk, right? You ride the coattails of our 24,000 agents across the country and get these co-op discounted rates. Again, Costco versus the neighborhood supermarket. Retail is not done in this office whatsoever, 100% wholesaling. So what we're seeing lately, especially since COVID and really the last year, a lot of these BGAs, IMOs, they're opening a call center in the west wing of their office, and they're selling to the same public bucket, right, of consumers that you're selling to. That's a big conflict of interest, big red flag. If you're working with another IMO, it's okay, but ask these questions. You don't want to be doing that. In my opinion, if I'm out there selling, I don't want the IMO who I'm working with also selling to the same consumers. Not okay. Okay. Same business owners. Not okay. You can't compete with the IMO that you're working with. Anyway, what I want to mention quickly, our agents mean everything to us. Okay. And just to give you an idea, November, right? We had a nice luncheon for our staff. December, we're doing the same thing for the holidays. We have incentives, giveaways. We just donated to 3 charities. Think about this for a minute. So October, we dedicate to American Cancer Society Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's my birthday month. And the point is, we do a luncheon. We make a significant donation on behalf of our agents and your business. Okay. Very important to us. It's about giving back. And you make this possible. You, our agent, our customer. November, fast forward, right? We do the same thing and dedicate November to the Movember charity. Movember, it's Men's Cancer Awareness Month, November. That's what it's about. And then number 3, right, is right now, December, we make a significant donation. In fact, we're the silver sponsor of the Toys for Tots Toy Rally. So we will obviously donate a check this year. It's on Saturday. And then we're going to donate about $1,000 worth of unwrapped toys for underprivileged children and families. So if it wasn't for us and for this event, right, these poor kids wouldn't have Christmas and Hanukkah and no gifts to open. So just my only point is I want to say thank you to you again for making this all possible for us to do and give back. So that's huge. Okay. Love that. And full circle back to our agents, right? Vimal and Chris, that's the testimonials we're looking at right now. This is everything. So I'm encouraging you all, share, go on our Facebook page, please. It's Levinson and Associates. Follow us. Okay. Leave a few comments like this. We'll send you a prospecting book on us. Go to our Google reviews page or link. Okay. Same thing, but please share. It means everything to all of us here. Thank you all for your help on this case. You're the best. Vimal, right-hand side, this webinar was the best I've ever attended. Appreciate what you do for your agents. Chris M., thank you. And I see, by the way, you're both on right now. So thanks for attending and thanks for sharing those comments. We love that stuff. Let's keep moving. This is my last slide, and then Alan's going to take the wheel. And then, by the way, Alan runs for about 30 to 40 minutes. When he's done, I'm going to wrap up for about 5 to 7 minutes and do our question of the day. We're giving away Apple AirPods in our IUL prospecting book, so make sure you're on until the end. I'm also going to share some great sales ideas, some details with the new lead program and the agent benefits package that's now available to all Levinson agents. So make sure you stay on right before 3 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, let's switch gears again. This is our life and annuity newsletter. So think of this for a second. You're an agent out there in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, 3rd bedroom. Okay, you're out there selling and marketing, right? Levinson has over 90 carriers now when it comes to life, annuity, health, right? Critical illness, CI, DI, all the above, accident, guaranteed issue, everything. It's impossible to keep your finger on the pulse. So what we do, think about this. We take all of the latest and greatest, the hottest stuff from these vendors, these tech partners, the carriers, and we condense everything into one image, okay? And we call this the Levinson Alert, okay? Everything to do with all of our companies and products, technology, sales ideas, strategies is in this one image, okay? Make sure It is sitting in your inbox. It comes every other week. If it's not, let us know. That means we have your incorrect email address. So please call us, okay, and say, hey, Bill, I'm not getting the newsletter. Okay, we'll simplify this in 2 seconds. Get this fixed for you. Okay, let's go to our final slide here. I want to introduce from AuguStar Financial, Alan is joining us, our RVP. Sit back, relax, ask plenty of questions, like I said a few times, and you'll walk away with some great nuggets today. Alan, are you there, buddy?
I'm here. Thank you so much, Bill.
Yep,
really appreciate that. Yeah, absolutely. So, thank you so much, first of all, for the time. Really appreciate it. And I echo what Bill said. I wish everyone a wonderful end of the year and holiday season, and just I really appreciate the time that I'm allowed to spend with everyone today, because I am super excited about what we're doing at AuguStar Life. My job is to get you excited about it, right? So, but we really appreciate this time that I could spend with everyone, and appreciate you all attending. I'll just make a quick introduction on me, as far as, kind of where I'm coming from and my experience that might be helpful to you, because as Bill mentioned, I am regional sales vice president. I cover the Southeast, and I'm joined by 4 of my good friends, and we're the boots on the ground, so to speak, for the AuguStar Life distribution team. So I work specifically on life insurance solutions for clients. And I work directly with you producers and with the leadership with Levinson. So am ready to help in any way that I can. I started in the industry in 2004, so I'm rounding about my 21st year in the industry. I started with AXA Advisors. I'm based in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I got into cut my teeth in the industry in the retirement benefit group division. So I worked with a lot of public school employees and my own natural market. A couple of years in, I joke, I got tricked into being a sales manager. Went and got my 24. I'd already had my 766. I built a team of advisors, really enjoyed that. But after a few years, I got back into personal production, working with my clients. Then I ended up for a few years at Mass Mutual as a sales manager in the Greensboro, North Carolina agency. And then I was recruited over to Ohio National in 2014. And I'll give you a little bit of history on the company. Won't spend much time on that. I want to get to the good stuff that I know you want to hear about, which are the products and the ideas that I want to share. But I think it might be helpful for you to know that the main point is I've sat across the table from clients, I've recruited advisors, and I deeply respect what you do every day, and appreciate it so much. So what I'm going to really cover is just, like I said, just a couple minutes here on who is AuguStar Life. Just give a little bit of background on what we're up to, because I think it's, when you want to present to a client, I know that it's important for you to feel confident and comfortable with the carrier that you're talking about. And I'm going to talk about, of course, what do we offer you as the producer. We have set out to build products that are simple to explain. I think that's super important. Efficient. So when I say that, I mean low cost, low expense. We also think that's very important. You're going to hear about a unique product offering that no other carrier in the industry can provide. And we want to make sure that it's high performing. And the best part of this, and my favorite part of the presentation, is to share some ideas with you, because I've been around some top producers, heard a lot of really good concepts and things to say to clients to get them to take action. And I love sharing all this stuff. So what I'm going to do is just real quick cover kind of a little bit of the history of AuguStar Life. So it basically started in 1909 with Ohio National. Fast forward all the way to March 2022, we were acquired by Constellation Insurance Holding Group. And so we have a lot of history, and we've leveraged the history of Ohio National into what we're doing at Constellation Insurance Holding Group. But it is a new day. We were for many years a mutual company. Dividend paying whole life was our main focus. Now it is indexed universal life and indexed whole life. And so I can't wait to talk about that. So just real quick, you know, those of you who help your clients, I'm sure there's a lot of you, if not all of you, help your client with investments. I think, you know, probably investments 101 is diversification, right? Well, with companies, diversification is great as well. So, you know, we want to make sure that we give you a fully diversified company. And in doing that, we have 6 different divisions. So we have an AuguStar retirement division. We have an AuguStar life division. We have operations in Chile and Peru. We have an investment arm. We have a reinsurance arm, and we also have what we call our institutional markets arm. 2 of the partners I'll point out, financial strength wise, we have 2 of the largest institutional wealth managers in the world that manage over their to the tune of about $750 billion in net assets, and a stellar track record of managing those investments for pension plans. Now, the first thing I want to talk about, and I want to make sure that you understand, is that we want to give you direct and personal relationships. We think that's super important. You know, one of the things I'll first mention, I think, you know, this could be a little unique, just depending on, you know, who you're working with. But underwriting, we offer direct access to underwriting. I have utilized that almost every week, sometimes every day, because I think it's super important. We can go to an underwriter and ask them to give us a quick assessment on a particular potential case, and it has been really helpful. We can also go to them on the back end when they make an offer and have a conversation with underwriters. Imagine that. I'm going to talk about our Clear Path Accelerated Underwriting Program. We have had a lot of success with that, a very high pass-through rate. We have enhanced our e-app system. On new business, one of the things I want to mention that I think is also very helpful to our producers that work with us is when you submit an application with AuguStar Life, there's one single point of contact from submission to issue, and that can be key. Now, we have an accelerated underwriting program, and maybe you won't have to deal with the case manager at all. But for cases that you may have more requirements that might be out there, having one point of contact, one person that you get those requirements to communicate with, and actually issue the policy, I think that's great. On the annuity sales team, we have product marketing support on that side, but for my team, we do offer a sales support team that can offer case design, consultation, and illustration support. There's an advanced planning team, in my opinion, that's second to none. I've been with other companies, as I mentioned earlier, and I think just from the standpoint of accessibility, our advanced planning team is just superb, and I work with them constantly. And I'm going to share an idea with all of you today that I think we could run with immediately and work with you on, if you have some connections to business owners, which I imagine a lot of you do. And then back to regional support. Consider me a partner that doesn't take commitment. That's the way I describe my role to the producers I work with. So the first thing I want to talk about is our Clear Path underwriting program. We've had a lot of success with this program. It's ages 18 to 60. First of all, let me say this: you have to use our e-app. But if it's a permanent product, so if it's an IUL or an index whole life or current assumption UL, or even 3 of our dividend paying whole life products we still have on available, If it's ages 18 to 50, up to 2 million of death benefit, no labs, no paramedics required. If it's ages 51 to 60, up to $1 million, no labs, no paramedics required. And if it's term, it's up to $1 million if the ages are 18 to 50. We have a very high pass-through rate with this program, and almost half of all of our cases are issued in 5 days or less. There's a large amount of these cases are issued without even needing an APS, but sometimes we will have to go after an APS. But you can look at those underwriting classes that we have issued so far in the program. So please keep that in mind. Ages 18 to 60, up to 2 million or up to 1 million, depending on the age. I'm going to go into, and part of this is kind of sharing conversations, concepts, ideas, but also bragging on our marketing team. I think they do a fantastic job of messaging for clients. And I'll just share with this, from time to time, I'll go on, and by the way, I love when Bill shares the industry news on, trends in the industry and the products and how things are moving and the different markets and products and how they're gaining market share or losing market share. But from time to time, I'll look up, I'll put a question online, and I'll just look up what are the main concerns for retirees today. And you know what? It just doesn't change. It doesn't change. And I don't think it'll change for a long time. And what are those main concerns for retirees, right? Well, number one usually is running out of savings, right? You always see taxes. They're afraid of taxes taking too much of their money. You always see market volatility. You always see long-term care expenses. Well, let me tell you, being in the life insurance industry, I'll admit, it's probably not the most glamorous at times, right? But I can't think of a more important, effective, powerful solution that you can bring to your clients than life insurance when you talk about all the things that they are concerned about. Let's talk about taxes, right? So what are those concerns? It's all over the internet that they're worried about taxes. Well, what do you have at your disposal? What kind of tool do you have to help them with planning for taxes? Well, first of all, if you help them understand income tax diversification, that's part of the conversation, right? Pretty straightforward. There's nothing real complex about it. But I have seen this conversation lead to so many life insurance sales. I just have to keep showing it over and over because the story is the same, but it's just as powerful today as it ever was, in my opinion. So every client that you talk to is going to have 3 buckets, right, of where they're putting their money. They have money in tax now, tax later, and tax free, right? This is a great little page in one of our marketing pieces that really just kind of invites clients to go through an exercise with their advisors to say, okay, if we look at those 3 buckets, we're gonna put down on a list where everything is. So let's go ahead and add it up. Where are your tax now, tax later, and tax free? Where's it all? And then here's another piece where it's an exercise where, what if we just put it in 1099, right? In the tax reporting. What would be the difference if you had life insurance cash value and you could draw 50,000 of the 100,000 in income in that year from your life insurance policy, 50,000 from a retirement plan? Well, let's kind of blow it up a little, right? That's real savings to a retiree. Okay, so when they see that, they're like, okay, that's what you're talking about with tax-free, tax now, tax later planning. If we're looking at income, right, if just about all of those solutions for those problems for clients comes out of what can you show them to help them accumulate, but then take that money out, right? So if we talk about taxes, right, I just showed you on that tax return of income, coming out of it, right? So that's going to be the reality down the road, is you're going to show them a solution that's going to diversify on a tax standpoint. You're going to show them a solution to diversify on market volatility. You're going to show them a solution that's going to help them leverage against long-term care expenses with our accelerated benefit rider I'm going to talk about in a minute. And also running out of savings, which I'm going to share an idea on that. This is really the only, I think it's the only competitive piece I'll show you, but the only reason I'm showing you this is because, back to this slide before, if you're looking for income for your clients, accumulation, but then also showing them what a product could do. Now, illustration is just an illustration, right? But just to give you the confidence that if you, that's the kind of objective that you're looking for, the kind of solution you're looking for clients, then rest assured, you will find a competitive product with AuguStar Life. This is our Virtus IUL3. And this is, again, some of the competitors. We run max rate of return just like they do, but then we've always had the story of stress testing. And that means what happens to the policy. On the illustration, when you reduce that credited interest rate by 100%, or 100 basis points or 1%, or go even further, right? Stress it even further. We've been talking about this ever since the first day we came out with an IUL, and we have balanced, in my opinion, cash value accumulation efficiency, income efficiency, and power, but also a low cost, low expense solution. So simplicity is really what we stick to with the product, easy to explain, low expenses. That gives your client a better ratio of cash value to accumulation value, and that's an overall high customer value for them. And what we mean by simplicity is really, we feel that the S&P 500 has a track record, it has a transparency, it has the, it's easy to understand for your clients, it gives them the performance, but then also it's just easier for them to understand what's going on in their contract, right? We don't have any multipliers or engineered indices, and so flexible design that's easy to explain. So expenses, from, our fundamental belief is that expenses could be one of the most important aspects of the contract for your client, because high expenses could erode that zero floor, right? Everybody knows that an IUL, one of the most attractive features is the zero floor, right? If we have a downturn in the market, we have that protection, right? We're not going down. But if you have a policy that has high cost and high expenses, that's actually not true, right? That's going to pull those account values down, eat into the interest it's earned, and it could increase the risk of a policy lapse. We do offer on every product I'm talking about today an accelerated benefits rider. So far, I've mentioned our Virtus IUL3, which is our accumulation and distribution powerhouse index universal life. But it does have no cost, an accelerated benefit rider that is a chronic and terminal illness combined. The terminal illness is, straightforward. Expectation is for them to live 12 months further or less. But one of the things I want to stress, and Bill put this on as one of the bullet points in the beginning, is we're unique, a little unique when you look at other carriers and how the chronic illness benefit is calculated and how the death benefit is affected. Basically, the way the lean method, what we do is we calculate what the lifetime maximum benefit is for the client when they need to access their money because they've gotten into a long-term care situation or inability to perform two of activities of daily living. We calculate that lifetime maximum benefit. They request an amount out of that. And as long as it falls within the rules of the rider or the tax code, we'll give them that amount. Let's say it's $100,000. And so we give them $100,000 as a chronic illness benefit. It's a simple lien against the death benefit, right? In the discounted death benefit, so carriers are slightly different, but At the time of claim, there's an underwriting decision for carriers that use the discounted death benefit. And we just don't know what that decision is going to be, right? It could be, hey, we got your request for 100,000 chronic illness benefit. We're going to give you 50,000, but we're going to reduce your death benefit by 250,000. That's not a stretch. I have heard about and seen different examples on the discounted death benefit, and we truly believe that the lien method is a really good value for the client. It allows for them to maintain that death benefit in comparison, maintain much more of a death benefit, and it's also easier for them to feel confident in that chronic illness benefit, because I don't know about you, but when I sit across from a client and tell them, look, we have a chronic illness benefit in here, but when you get down the road several years, 20 years, whatever it is, and you go into a situation where you need to get to that amount, we don't know how much we're going to give you, and we don't know how much of your death benefit's going to be left. So that's kind of a little bit of comparison there. I'd love to spend more time on that, but I think it's just, honestly, I think it's something that it's not really discussed enough. So we have, as I said, I think some great marketing pieces. Here's another example of IUL, similar benefits to a Roth IRA. These are probably conversations you're having every day with your clients, but this touches on that taxes part, right? The concern that retirees have on taxes, and that's why so many people get interested in a Roth IRA. But how many people are you talking to that might not even be eligible, right, to participate in a Roth IRA? What about the contributions? Maybe they want to put more than what the contribution part of a Roth IRA. If they have investments inside of a Roth IRA that may have a lot of volatility, right? And does a Roth IRA come with that death benefit protection? So this is a great piece that I think speaks to that planning part. This is a neat idea on insurance funding Roth IRA conversion. For those, and I'll go right to kind of the image here of how it works. So let's say you're talking to a husband and wife. The wife has a nice size IRA, right? Well, at her death, she would like to leave as much of it behind for the surviving spouse, right? And the surviving spouse may want to take that IRA that they're inheriting, or that they're the beneficiary of, and they may want to convert it to a Roth to get it over into a tax-free bucket, right? So the wife purchased permanent life insurance on herself, and she names the spouse as the primary beneficiary of the life insurance and the traditional IRA. At her death, the IRA goes to the spouse. Life insurance death benefit proceeds also go to the spouse, and he uses the death benefit proceeds to pay the conversion tax. Pretty straightforward idea, but kind of neat. If you have those clients that have, those IRAs that they want to, make sure that they're doing the right planning for each other. This is kind of another example of meeting the retirement income challenge, and I'm going to get into some ideas about the market volatility piece, right? That's a huge thing. I during the pandemic, I was in my office in my home, and there was a year where one of those years it was the market was really looking like it could be on a real bad downturn, and I was sitting there going, you know what? I'm X amount of years away from retirement. I'm building up investments. I have a 401k. I have life insurance, but do I have enough to put me in the driver's seat if I get to day, let's say my third year in retirement, and all of a sudden there's another 2008? I am a big proponent of having the ability to have a volatility buffer to put me in the driver's seat for market volatility. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. But I thought this was cool too. This was a part of that meeting the retirement income challenge. Well, how about, what would your clients think? Not even saying the words life insurance, right? What if there was something that we could put in place in your plan that would leave a financial legacy to your loved ones, supplement your retirement assets, give you flexibility for chronic or terminal illness, and have some funding for emergency expenses, but also supplement education assets? I'll tell you just from personal experience, my permanent life insurance policy was a game changer when all of a sudden my wife and I decided to send my son to a boarding school in high school, right? I didn't plan on that. I planned for college. But I tell you what, the life insurance cash value was my hero. So Bill mentioned this a little bit earlier, and I'm super excited to announce to you that because we are working with you with AuguStar Life, we want to earn your business. You have at your arm's length access to something that no other carrier provides in the industry, and it's called our Prestige Indexed Life. What in the world is it, right? Index Whole Life. Well, it's at its core, it is whole life. So it's filed as a whole life product. And what makes it whole life? It has guaranteed premiums, and in our case, we have two different ones. We have a 10 pay and a 20 pay. So if your client pays 10 years or 20 years, contractually, it is paid up for life, okay? Not age 80, not age 90, paid up for life, a contract with the company. Your clients also have a guaranteed, so it's a guaranteed face amount. They also have a guaranteed cash value growth component. Imagine that. Guaranteed is in here 3 times, folks, right? That's what makes it whole life. But what makes it index whole life? Well, when you think about a ledger, on the left side, and you'll see one here in a minute, but on the left side, you got all the guarantees, right? That's whole life in an index whole life. On the right side, you're going to see basically an IUL. So it's a meeting of the two worlds of whole life, the guarantees of whole life, with the upside potential of an index universal life. Or, said another way, an IUL with the guarantees of whole life, right? So what do you get on top of the guarantees of the whole life? Well, you get the index crediting, just like an IUL, flexible accumulation options, and imagine that, transparent cost structure, okay? So in dividend paying whole life, question for the audience, people who have sold and clients who are, owners of dividend paying traditional whole life, is there ever a way for you to see the cost structure? No. It's a black box. You can't show the client what's going on inside the contract, but with index whole life, you can. So we have additional riders. We have 2 different loan options. We have a standard loan and an indexed loan option. The indexed loan, I'm sure you all are very familiar with it. You're hoping for the positive arbitrage between the index crediting and the loan rate. The standard loan is a great feature where you can lock in a wash loan after year 11. And so it's and you can toggle back and forth once every 12 months. And there's an overloan protection rider. I'm going to kind of mention an idea here, and this is actually this is something that, I get pretty passionate about because I'm doing this myself. Because I mentioned this earlier. When your clients are looking at retirement planning, this is a lot like climbing a mountain, right? Well, if you look at climbing Mount Everest, anybody who's done it or heard about people who have done it, where's most of the danger? Is it going up the mountain or is it coming down? It's by far the most dangerous is to come down, right? Why is that? Well, sometimes there's unexpected weather, right? And also some people fail to pack adequately, right? Well, is it too late once you get to the top to go back and pack your bags? Yes, it is, unfortunately. And that's what happens. They run into headwinds, weather, you name it. So Pre-retirement is accumulation. It's going up the mountain. Distribution is coming down. Distribution is key, right? Your clients have so many things at their disposal to accumulate, but how are they going to distribute? So here's an example of using the effectiveness of using a volatility buffer. And what do I mean? So 750,000 in this example is let's call it a 401k for a client. And these two middle columns without volatility buffer. So this is someone that has no volatility buffer. They have 750,000 in a 401k. They're going to take $75,000 out a year, and they may have moved it to an IRA, whatever. And they're going to take that money out. Okay. On this left part here where it says annual return, these are real historical returns in the S&P 500. So they start out the gate in retirement, not doing too bad, but then in that fourth year and fifth year, they have downturns in the market. And then by the 14th year, they're out of money. You remember what I mentioned earlier? When you look up top concerns for retirees, this is their nightmare. You know, a lot of people ask what keeps you up at night. This is what keeps them up at night, and for good reason. Because most Americans, unfortunately, without proper planning for distribution, are going to look, their retirement and come down the mountain is going to look just like this. With a volatility buffer, even if they had just 3 years to draw from some other bucket and let their 401k breathe or recover, look at the difference in 20 years in their account value compared to running out in red 14th year. So how does someone do this? Well, I looked at the 20-pay index whole life, right? And this was on a 45-year-old. And as I mentioned before, they pay for 20 years. In this example, we have a 10-year and a 20-pay, 10-pay and a 20-pay. No more premiums due. So by the time they get to 65, they've paid everything into it. It's done. And then let's go back here. So then when they start coming down the mountain, we've already seen here that if they have at least 3 years of volatility buffer, historically, they're looking like they're in the driver's seat, right? They at least have that ability to be in control, to kind of pull from one bucket, let the other one recover. And so with the assumed crediting rate, 6.8, we've got almost 400,000 of cash value, and we've just paid off a policy. And on a guaranteed basis, we have 224,000. So back here, do we have 3 years of volatility buffer? We've built that. We've gone back. I'm going to go back another slide. What are we doing with that volatility buffer, that 20-pay index whole life, or another policy? You can use IUL for this as well because of the 0-4 protection. But I like the index whole life because it gave me that guaranteed cash value. Now, we've packed our bags differently, right? Now when we get to the top, we've got our investable assets, which is our 401k. And now we've got down here, we're starting in year 1 of retirement. We have several years of a volatility buffer. So I hope that makes sense. I think that's powerful. You know, I think it puts people in the driver's seat, puts them in control. When they just have their 401k, you know, you hear about those commercials, what's your number, what's your number? Well, it really doesn't matter that much how large a 401k is if you don't know how to properly take distribution out of it. Because if you're taking too much out and you're not paying attention to the market and you don't adjust, you could be out of money real quick. I'm just going to mention very quickly this Virtus Protection IUL. We do have term covers. I'm sorry the time has gone, but I want to make sure I cover this concept here. Our advanced planning team is fantastic. These are the different services that are offered. We do a document review and a business valuation. Quick story, one of my advisors in South Carolina was working with a 3-person internet marketing firm, and the CFO called and said, we need coverage on 3 partners, maybe 3 to 5 million of death benefit. And we need to put together a buy sell. My advisor said, hold on, time out. This doesn't cost you anything. Let's do a business valuation. So we gathered the data taker, 2 to 3 years of tax records. The valuation came back to be 54 million instead of 3 to 5 million. They were getting ready to put together a buy sell plan based on 5 million of assumed value instead of 54 million. A big mistake was about to be made, and just from simply going through that business valuation report, the advisor was able to save them from making that mistake and made a lot more commission, by the way. Small business population, over 33 million small businesses in the United States, employs almost half of all of US employees. And how many of them know the value of their business? Only 2%. I can't think of a bigger opportunity out there. We want to help you do a business valuation report or offer a business valuation service to your clients. We have marketing material. We have a data taker to complete. We work with our advanced planning team. They are the ones that complete it. Jim Barbie is my advanced planning attorney that I work with. But they even put out these 3 nice questions that you can ask, that you can run with. You're a successful business owner. What's your exit strategy? Is it in writing, and how to fund it? And then 3 areas of need: protecting the operating team of your business, planning for ownership transition, providing for outstanding talent. Those are the 3 main areas that they're going to be focused on, that business owners think about, and they should be. And those are the areas that we look at. The indexed whole life, this is just an example of what we call a gift of a lifetime. This is a grandfather putting 10 years of premium on the life of his Grateful Fred, age 1 grandson. So 10 years, this is done. Prestige Index 10 pay, Prestige Index whole life. Gets down the road, pulls money out for college, pulls a little bit more out for down payment on a house, gets married, has 2 kids that go to college, God bless him, and then wants $100,000 a year tax-free for retirement. By the time he gets down the road to age 92, he's pulled out over $3 million in cash value, still has $4 million left, $6.5 million death benefit, passing on a legacy, truly a gift of a lifetime. This one is the index, the protection, IUL, but I don't want to be respectful of time. Then it's 2:56, and I don't want to take up too much time, so I may have to stop here. Or would you like for me to share this other idea here? I'll leave that up to you, Bill.
Yes, if you can hit this in a minute or 2, a quick version, that would be great. I have about 3 to 4 minutes left, so that's fine.
Fantastic. Okay, great. So I talk to a lot of advisors that, you know, they may do mortgage protection, they may get leads, and they're talking to people who are just talking to clients who are new homeowners, right? So if they're homeowners, they understand that it was short-term, permanent, or rent or own, right? You know, it's been around for a long time in the industry that term insurance, you're rent, right? When you know, sooner or later you're going to get kicked out. Permanent is when you actually own the policy, you control it, you build equity. So what if your clients could do 2 things at once? Protect the mortgage efficiently and diversify their assets in savings, right? So we kind of went over this a little bit earlier, where properly structured permanent life insurance can give them a tax-free bucket, right? So what if we're talking about a 35-year-old, $500,000 is what he wants to cover for his mortgage. This is a permanent policy. The extended no lapse guaranteed age 90 premium would be $213 a month. Now that's if he's paying every year, right? So, and you can see that he's building up that cash value. You get down the road, he's at 65, he's got 83,000 in cash value, but he's protecting against this mortgage. He's got that protection for his family. But what if the 35-year-old says, you know what, I want to pay this in 20 years? We solve it for an extended elapsed guarantee so that he pays it for 20 years, but he has this guaranteed death benefit all the way out to age 90. But look what happens when he does the limited pay. At age 65, he's got a nice amount of cash value in there to use for whatever he wants, right? For volatility buffer, for maybe he wants to pull out some and pay the mortgage off quicker. And we can solve for 15 pay. So if he gets it paid off in 15 years, again, this is all solved for having that extended no lapse guaranteed age 90. And he gets down the road, he's got cash value, he's already paid his premiums that he needs to pay, he's got the death benefit that extends out to age 90, and if he gets this assumed credited rate, it goes way past that. So thank you so much. I appreciate the time. I apologize that I went a little bit over there, but I really appreciate it, and I look forward to working with you. And thank you so much, and best wishes to everyone.
No problem, Alan. That was great, fantastic. I want to get everyone out in just 2 or 3 more minutes. I want to touch on a couple hot items. And then what we'll do is all the questions, comments, we'll get back to every single person as soon as we hang up. Let's keep moving forward. Great work once again, Alan. Okay, so real fast to get started, you're going to see this in your inbox tonight before we leave. We'll include all the brochures, contracting. You'll see the yellow arrows. Just follow those. You'll see the AuguStar request. And then boom, you are in the platform and portal, and you can start quoting. And if you need any assistance, obviously, we're here to help. Let's keep moving. We're going to go pretty quickly through some of these slides, but I want to touch on some of the important ones before we have our giveaway and close out. And I know we're a few minutes over, and I apologize, but some of this stuff is very, very important, especially holiday time. So you've heard about the infinite banking concept, YFB, your family banker. So lots and lots of options with Levinson, including Lafayette Life, Mutual Trust Life, and you can use AuguStar as well, especially for long-term accumulation. So a few options there. We have the trainings, we have the illustrations, everything at your fingertips, and then of course our marketers can help you as well. Let's go to the next flyer real fast. This is a great concept here, 5 steps to close. And I love, when you think about as an agent, anything that you can use in the field to open doors, close more cases, I'm all about it, right? And that's the way that, at least the feedback that I'm seeing. So I love this concept. We're going to include this in the thank you email, and then you will see us marketing in December with this concept as well. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Let's keep moving forward. So speaking about opening doors, getting your story out there, right? Because you have the best personality, the gift of gab, the ultimate, right? Everybody needs health insurance, especially over age 65, Medicare, ACA. We have all the options now. One-stop shop. This is our new over age 65 health department with a full turnkey A to Z platform, including leads, CRM system, everything. It's all complimentary. The leads start at, in fact, I have another slide, about $20. Very, very inexpensive. And then, of course, you come in after the fact, cross-selling, build the relationship, and the rest is history. So if you're interested, let us know. We'll include the link in our thank you email as well. The agent benefits package, I love to use this methodology here. So when you started, right, day one, whatever, 5, 20, 30 years ago, and you worked with a career carrier like a MetLife, for example, it was great because you had this complete back office, you had all these agent benefits, right, part of a group health plan. So now you're independent, you're in the brokerage space, you have access to the best carriers, best products, best commissions. Commissions are like 2 to 3 times higher. Renewals are great, sometimes in the double digits for 10 years, right? Especially with DI. So you have the best of that side, the brokerage side, okay, if you will. Now, being on the brokerage side and being 100% independent, you have those great group benefits. That's what's amazing about this. It's never been done before. Okay, now with our new partnership, you have access to all of these products on a group chassis. Okay, so I love this. If I was an agent today, right, Key West, Florida, right, I'm looking to whatever, cut my teeth in the business, or I'm doing this 22 years. These are things you got to pay attention to, especially building a downline for new agents that report to you. So just know enough to be dangerous. And if you want to leverage this platform, let us know. We have a request form and page on our website as well. The next slide is the new Lead Star platform that's exclusive to Levinson agents. I just mentioned this briefly. Starting at $20, right? It's all the health leads, including final expense. Okay. They will call you, you call them. We even have in-person options available as well. So Megan, who heads up this department for us, she's going to be on our podcast in December. So I'm excited about that. And then we also had a webinar with her about 3 weeks ago, maybe right before the holidays. So we'll send that out in the thank you email as well. Let's keep moving forward. These are sample social media posts that I love. And here's what I love so much about these two posts. So together, this brought in over 1,200 likes, messages, and shares. Okay, now you're an agent in 2025, right? December, right? Closing out the year. Why are you not getting this stuff out there? Okay. And even if you say to me, Bill, I have 7 followers, they're all my family members, it's okay. It's okay. Because if 2 out of the 7 share your post, right, and one person likes it that maybe you just met or you have no idea who they are, you reach out with a DM or PM and say, hey, Shelly, Bobby, I saw you liked my post about that how life insurance is the last thing people prioritize, and you had a question or you shared it. Okay. It's an open door and it's free. So you got to do these things. And this is not rocket science. My point is the reason why we share this every week is to show you how simple. You don't have to be the best graphic artist in the world. We even have a library of material we can co-brand for you, and it's free. Okay. So anyway, you know what my answer is when this comes up. So let's keep moving forward. Bill Levinson Experience Podcast. This was one of my favorite episodes, especially when you talk about Movember, November. Okay. Ron had a great story to share. He also happens to be one of our top annuity agents in the country. Okay. His story is amazing. He was at the expo last year. He'll be there again in 26. Great guy. This is an hour full of sales nuggets and inspiring personal stories. I promise you. Check that one out when you can. It's on your favorite podcast channel. Okay, just about done. I have one last slide, and then we'll put a bow on this, and I'll do our giveaway. So this is our 2 final webinars of the year. Make sure you're paying attention. One is annuities, and then the other one is everything that you need to know what's hot for 25. So Coach Chris is an independent annuity consultant, which means he's going to pick out his favorite annuity carriers, products, share sales ideas, everything he's seeing from this 100-foot overview, right, where he sits. So I like that strategy compared to like a carrier VP saying, hey, Equitrust is the best. They have the best FIA, best MIGAs. No, he's going to give you that independent consultant look and on the entire industry A to Z. So that one is worth being on. Even if you never sold an annuity yet, you'll walk away with a nugget. On the bottom, we handpick the top tools, platforms, products, everything, right? And we share them with all of our agents. That's on the 18th. Let's go to our final slide and our giveaway. I know I'm 7 minutes over, and again, I'm so sorry. Speaking of the holidays, our toy rally, Toys for Tots charity. I love this. It happens to be this Saturday. So we're going to have some more pictures and a flyer. My quote, sometimes we forget that having someone in your life who genuinely cares about you is the ultimate gift that cannot be replaced. Just a gentle reminder. Don't forget if it's a family member, best friend, parent, whatever. Okay. It doesn't make a difference. It doesn't hurt to give them a hug, reach out on a phone call, not a text message. Just tell them you love them. Tell them thank you. Okay. Gentle reminder. Once again, question of the day. So I spoke a lot about our charities, right? Giving back. And I spoke about how we couldn't do this stuff without you, our agents. Okay. And that's a heartfelt thank you. And I mean that. It's huge. Okay, it's everything. What I wanted to mention, and our question of the day is, number one, you're going to get a set of Apple AirPods and the IUL prospecting book if you answer first and you answer correctly. But what I'm saying, and I guess my biggest point here, it's December, it's holiday time. There's people in need. And I know a lot of us are also in need, right? Maybe personal things going on, whatever it is. But it's always nice, right, to do a little something. It doesn't have to cost you any money, right? It could be donating some time, volunteering, whatever. Okay. But do the right thing at the end of the day. And by the way, you're doing the right thing by working with Levinson, because we're able to do exactly what's in that picture in front of you, right? And helping these underprivileged children and families have a nice Christmas or Hanukkah, whatever it is. My question of the day, right? Let me get back on point. Enough of my ranting. Get your little fingers on the keyboard. I mentioned the 3 charities that we donated to the last 3 months: October, November, and December. What's the name of those 3 charities, right? Levinson and Associates donated, gave back. October was birthday month, November, and now December. Name the 3 charities, and you win the new Apple AirPods and the prospecting book on us. Little something to help you with the holiday time. Maybe this could be a re-gift, call it whatever you want. But if you answer first, you win. Andrew's going to tell us who was first and correct.
Okay, we have a winner. It's Suzanne G. Suzanne G.
Suzanne G. Congrats. The first one, October, American Cancer Society. The second one was Movember for November, Men's Cancer Awareness. The third one is Toys for Tots for the Toy Rally, which is Saturday. So with that said, congrats. Thank you to each and every one of you for hanging in there with us for 70 minutes. I apologize. We're 10 minutes over. Once again, I hope it was worthwhile. We'll see you next Thursday at 2 p.m. Great selling. Thank you again.